want to thank the school administration for their support and with meets, etc. They did try to line the field, but the rain didn't help. It wasn't cooperative, and we really appreciate that. I want to thank all of you who helped with the meets. You know, whether you were timing, or officiating, or whatever, or just jumped in. I know a lot of people just jumped in and started to call the turtles. I thank you, all of you people, because that's what makes a good meet. And we'll talk more about that in just a few minutes. I want to thank Chris and Abby for the house rent and the food that's provided by them, Roseberries and Schrader's at the state meet. We had team dinner there that they provided for us, and it was very, very nice. Saved the school money too, I might add. I want to thank our coaching staff, Chris Vanetti, Jay Glassman, Rick Stupek, Chris Stancliffe, Caleb Howard, and Danny Owen. All of these people contributed to the success of this team. They are the people that made this happen. And I really want to thank all of them. We'll talk more about them at other times as well. Season wrap-up. It was a great season. Look at the number of people we have. This might be the biggest gathering we've had. I think that's just marvelous. Like, you know, you people make work, the athletes that you provided to us, and we really appreciate what you do for us, and we're very, very grateful for that. We had a lot of improvement. We had 17 scholar athletes in this group. Now, that doesn't sound like very many for this big group, but 20 of them are freshmen that can't even get a scholar athlete until after they finish the semester in school. So that would be 37. And there are only 9 sophomores and 7 juniors in the whole team, so that's really a great percentage, although it doesn't sound like it. But that's very commendable. The personal records just, we gave out a lot of little candies. Put it that way. We haven't got all that done yet if we consider what happened after the district meeting. We took 10 to the state meeting. We could have taken so many more, but we're so close. And those people that stayed behind and watched the state meet and thought, and looked at this record stuff, I ran faster than them, I jumped higher than them, I did better than that. But they only take the top 2. And so there were so many people in here that were right on that button. And we're very, very proud of the 10 we took, but we're also proud of the people who were right on that button or coming right along, and we're going to see in the future. It was great. At state, Madison Schrader took 2nd in the hurdles. Danny Dunn, 3rd in the shot. Simon Belaine and Connor both 7th in the javelin and the pole vault. Quinn and Kyle and Dylan all ran. Quinn was 7th in the javelin, and Kyle, Dylan, Dominic, and Simon all ran the 400 meter relay there at dark 30, I might add. So we arrived home at 3:15 a.m. the next day. Dawson and Simon were also, well, I said that, but we also had Curtis and Dylan were alternates for that team, so they received state recognition for being alternates. The most important people here are you parents. You parents provide these wonderful athletes for us, and all of us on the coaching staff, thank you for that. Without your contribution, these fine young men and women, this team wouldn't exist, and we really, really appreciate what you do. We're going to hand out the awards, and you might see that some people are handing out more awards than others. That doesn't mean that everybody on this coaching staff didn't contribute equally. It just meant that more people happened to turn out for those particular events that took place. We have a lot of success, and that success, as I said, is for these coaches. And so when the coaches come up and hand out these awards, you'll find out what they specifically coach, and they just don't. I don't know how to thank all these people that help us with this big group. And people ask me how'd you do it, and I said, well, because God helped me. And that's how it happened.
There's quite a bit of good things to say this year too. I remember one day at practice, the girls 4x1 were getting ready to do exchanges, and tell them, oh, do your core exchanges, 2 at 75, 2 at 90%. And they all kind of roll their eyes at me. And okay, they roll their eyes at me. I have them in class. They do that all the time. And they're like, oh, coach, we don't like doing the 75% exchanges. Thanks for telling me. So tonight, I get to tell you things that I never got to tell you, so I'm looking forward to some payback. And the first thing that Josie, Dolly, Anna, Madison, Sierra would stand up. These were our, these girls I've coached for the last couple years with the relay. Macy was also an alternate for us this year, but I want to recognize these 5 because I've had a chance to coach them the last few years. And Anna, Madison, Sierra, to be fair, we talk about you guys as a relay, and let the other position coaches talk about you individually. But what I want to tell this group, this is the best group and most enjoyable group I've ever coached in 9 years of coaching. When I think about the relay as a team, this is the best team I've ever coached. So I appreciate this group. What makes the best team is just the way they prepare. First thing they do at practice, I don't have to tell them. 4 meets, then they do their blind exchanges, then they go and do their run. Think about Dolly and Anna one day at practice. They do an exchange, it wasn't up to their standards. I don't tell them to go do it again. They go do it on their own. And I told them after that those qualities are going to pay off. And at the beginning of the year, we all thought that was going to be going to the state meet. And after we went to the district meet, they were a little shocked after we ran the 4x1. Cascade and St. Mary's in our district were the top 2 placers in the state. They finished 50.72. Cascade did to win the state title. St. Mary's was 50.78. The 3rd place team was 51.18. And the 4th place team was 51.17. So there was all a half-second difference between St. Mary's and the 3rd place team at the state meet, to give you an idea of how fast those 2 teams were. Your time at the district meet, 52.34, finished 10th in the state this year. You just didn't qualify because of how it works. If you would have ran that time at the state meet, you would have placed 7th at the state meet this year. More importantly, for you guys, those qualities that I talked about, they're going to pay off for you later on in life. And I had the same conversation with Coach. He's like, we talked on that. I didn't teach you guys all that. That's just the way you guys are. I was really surprised at what she accomplished this year. When Dolly came out for track, I was just happy to see Dolly come out for track. She is an awesome competitor. And she shocked me during our relay trials for spring break. She comes out for the relay and she's running the corner, and I'm like, who's this girl? And then she did the same thing on the straightaway. And at the district meet, she placed 5th in both the 100 and 200 meters at the district meet. So, Dolly, thank you for coming out this year. Next one here is Josie, another one of our seniors. Josie is one of the hardest working kids I've ever coached. She placed 7th in both the 100 and 200 meters at the district meet, and she finished her career the way you wanted. She ran a personal best in the 200. She ran a 29:37 in 200 meters in her final race. Next one here is Jenny Harlan. Jenny's a really fun person to have in the sprint group, so I'm glad to see her come out for track this year. I know she was frustrated at time with injuries, but she finished strong. I don't know if you know this, Jenny, you placed 8th in the 100 meter at the district meet. You ran a season best time of 14.95, and to give you something to shoot for next year, Josie standing beside you, she started her junior year running a 15.07. Her first meet as a junior, she ran a 14.09 in her last race as a senior. So you're right on that track. And if you were to continue, she got great running form. She's only going to improve. And you you are both approved for them here. And Starla, she is another hard worker that we have. She came over from the hurdles, and she finished the year also with a personal best in the 200. She ran a 32.39 at the district meet. She won her heat at district, and you just missed placing 8th at the district meet. She missed by 0.03 of a second, which is less than that. And again, she wants to come out, keep on working like she did. She's only going to get better. And then lastly, I really enjoyed coaching this young man this year. He worked extremely hard. He won't admit it, but the days that we had our strength workouts, that was the day Hobby really came to work. He pushed himself really hard. He kept on improving as the year went on. Most endearing, I know, to me, I think Coach would say the same thing, is that if you need something to be done, Hobby is there to help out you, and you're helping out with helping out coach other kids. Was always a big help to me during the year as well. So Hobby, I really enjoy coaching.
It really came home to me the first week. So the first week we did kind of a, hey, let's just try everything week. Standing there. Nobody shows up for distance. I'm like, come on, cross-country guys, where are you at? Time went on a little bit, and I got to grow and get my cross-country guys back and got a few more new ones. And so it ended up okay, but man, I was really worried the first week. I was like, well, I'm not a lot of free time. So I've structured mine. People I didn't know at the start of the year now do, and then people I knew from previous seasons. So the first guy, if you hadn't known that Kingsley Field wasn't allowed to do sonic booms anymore, you would have thought they were doing it in their first few weeks at track, because the footfalls on this little guy are incredibly loud. It's like, all right, you're taking strides as long as I am, and I'm about 8 inches taller than you, so we got to fix something. So I had him take his shoes off and run around in the grass a little bit and try and shorten the stride up, make it a little bit smoother and lighter. And then at the end of the first practice of doing that, he was like, where's Logan? Well, there he goes. I didn't hear him. All right. I even went over to Chris and said, hey, check this out. Who's that? Oh, that's Logan. So I didn't know Logan. Now I do know Logan. And just changing that one thing on him cut a ton of time. I think over a minute off your 1500 in 1 week. So it was pretty cool to watch. Looking forward to working with this young man more in the future, and once he gets his arm better. And but it was a pleasure. So Logan and the next guy, about 2/3 of the way through the season, he just shows up and says, I'm running distance. I'm like, okay, it's a little late, but we'll see what we can do. First workout, 400 repeats, no complaints, does it just fine. Then runs a 1500 meter and runs a pretty dang good time for not being a distance runner from the start of the season. So I was impressed. I was like, I'd like to see you a little more and try and work with you and get things improved and see where we can take this. So it was really nice to have him for the last year. Like Mr. Stupak said, he kind of stepped up and ran the 4x1. He was kind of a jack of all trades this year. So Mateo Ferrer, come on up. It's another new guy for me. First time I really noticed him, he just comes up and says, I want to run the 400. It's like, all right. First workout, we go up Bullard, and I ran back with him and a couple of the other guys, and he was running fine. I was like, all right, this will be a good year. Came through, ran some pretty good times. He was dependable. Unfortunately, had a little bit of an ankle issue there in the middle of the season, kind of the meat section of the season. So we didn't really get to get him under that 60-second mark, which I really think we could have done. Maybe even under 8:57 for him, because I saw him running in the upper gym, and he was pretty quick. So Dylan, still, it was a lot of fun to work with you. I hope to work with you more in the future. So the first workout with Travis, I told him to go to the sewer ponds, stay together. Travis made sure they stayed together. If you needed attention to detail, Travis was your man. So it's kind of like, all right, Travis, you can slow down a little bit. You don't have to run this quite so hard. Well, I don't know how to run that hard. Okay, we'll try and figure that out. We still got to work on not running quite so hard every single day with Travis, but he's another one of those guys that I think another year, a little bit older, do some good quality work, and we can get that guy under 60 for the 400 also. He's also, I'm an 800 runner, which if you've ever run the 800, it hurts a lot, and a lot of people don't really want to run it. No complaints from Travis on running the 800. He just stepped up and did it. It was a real pleasure to have. I hope to work with him again in the future also. So Travis Kidby, come on up. So I got to share Curtis with the hurdler crew, and really got to share him once we started getting together with the 4x4. So the 4x4s were kind of a funny story this year. Start of the year, no one wanted to do a 4x4. So me and the other coaches kind of drop a hint, kind of push a little bit, kind of sign you up for a 4x4 whether you want to or not, make you do it, and it ended up working out. The girls, about midway through the season, they really ate up the 4x4 and really started to enjoy it and started to beat people pretty good. The boys took a little more persuading and a little bit more henpecking, but we got there eventually. And they ran a really good time at our home meet. And I just lined up that time, lined it up with the other 2 times from the district, the top 2 times, and said, we can do this. And then they were kind of like, all right, we can do this. And whoever was there at district who saw the boys 4x4, that was a fantastic race run by 4 fantastic legs. Every single person on that 4x4 put it out and put it on the line and did a great job. Every 4x4 needs dependable people. And one of the dependable people is your alternate, which this year we had a lot of people. I'm hurt, I'm tired, I can't do the 4x4, so we need someone to jump in. Curtis Weaver was your man, and he was there to run a good time every single time. Consistently under 60 or right around 60, which with us was very good and very helpful. So I'd like to see him a little bit longer this season, and I think we could have got him in the 56, 57 range. But we had him, we did what we could, he was there for us. So Curtis Weaver, come on up. So Darren, I had to split with all of his field events, so he didn't get quite the running he needed to get to be an effective middle and long distance runner. But he flat out came to me and said, I want to run the 800 at districts, and I think I figured out a new way to run. That's kind of whatever. That doesn't happen. Well, he shows up, and we ran a couple time trials for 200s, and it's like, all right, make it relax, make it smooth, and he did, and it's like, all right, well, he's running as fast as he runs an open 400. And he's actually did figure out a new way to run. So that's pretty cool. So he does his districts and comes in with a nice like 10-15 second PR from his previous 800s with very little work with me because he was focusing on his main events, the javelin distance. So it was kind of like, hey, nice job there. So I hope he continues with this new way of running and really flourishes with it and goes into the Marines and good time. Darren, as always, it's fun to work with you, even if you drive me crazy. Come on up. So it's not very often you get a freshman that can run super respectable times. It's times where just anybody comes and looks at it, and then they look at the year next to it and they go, wow, that's legit. Dawson is one of those guys, and if you get the chance to see him run, you know why, because he's an incredibly smooth runner, and he will do whatever you ask him to do. He's also smart. So my suggestion at the Lakeview on me was he was coming in an 800-meter time. There's a kid from Triad coming in with a much faster seed for the 800. And I just flat out said, sit on him and see what you got with 200 to go. Well, Dawson, the smart runner he is, noticed that at about 150 meters into the race, this kid's sandbagging, and he's just going to run easy and try and out-kick us at the very end. So Dawson goes around him and lights that guy's world up the whole rest of the race and totally shocked him because he thought, hey, the next closest time is 14 seconds. I'm just going to cruise this 800 and win it and be fresh with 4x4. No, Dawson made him work, and that was really fun to see someone who had their eyes open, their brain on during the middle of the run, and they could just flat out notice, hey, this guy's not running hard, I'm going to go around, I feel good. So Dawson, we got things to do for cross-country track, cross-country track, all the way to senior year. We got big things to accomplish, and this is going to be a lot of fun. So come on up. So I like to think of kids and then one race that epitomizes their season. And this guy, who is a scholar athlete, by the way, so he's working on and off the track. 3,000 meter at districts. There was Kyle, and there was a gap, and then Dylan was the lead on that gap. And that is the toughest spot to be, because of all those guys that are right behind him. So second seed through about fifth seed were all within 10, 12 seconds. In a 3,000 meter, that's neck and neck. Could potentially be neck and neck. So Dylan was in the toughest spot he could possibly be. So the game plan was to go in it and say, lead that second group, and whatever happens, don't let anyone pass you. Sounds simple. That is the hardest way to run 3,000. You want to have the luxury to move around. But we decided we're going to do this. We're going to make those guys work extremely hard. So we did. Lap after lap. Here comes Kyle. Small little gap. Here comes Dylan. The big mass of people are just right on it. Next lap, same exact thing. Next lap, same exact thing. And as a coach, you're kind of getting excited, a little bit nervous. You're kind of like, okay, hang in there, buddy. You can do it. You can do it. And you're yelling at him and screaming at him and trying to encourage him, and he's just maintaining that spot. 500 meters to go. Everyone's hurrying. He's running an incredible time. He's going to PR by a huge margin, but so is everybody else. Cascade Christian guy, this third seed, passes him. Tries to pass him. Dylan shrugs him off. It's like 500 meters to go, and he's already kicking. It's like, all right, bud, let's see what you got. So he out-kicks the guy all the way around till 100 meters to go. Cascade Christian guy makes another move, gets about a yard on him. And then here comes a little blue blur, goes right by him again. It's like, that's Dylan, yeah! Send him to the state. So that race, which was something like a 32-second PR for him, was extremely fun to watch, very, very satisfying as a coach. And it really shows what he can do. Extremely tough, really good kick, and pays attention to detail. And what's helpful for me is he trusts me. Because I'm not going to say, hey, go do something stupid. It's like, okay, let's learn run smart. It's like the thing I always say, run smart, run smart. And he did, and he ran tough, and it paid off for him. So that was really fun to watch. So come on up, Bill. So Kyle Liedtke, the other guy in that good 3,000, is also a scholar athlete. Was voted a co-MVP with several other athletes. He's another fun one to work with because you tell him to do something and he'll do it. You might ask 5 or 6 questions of why you're doing it, but he'll do it in the end. And so the funny story is, on April 1st, which apparently high schoolers don't pay attention to what day that is, showed up, and I collected a workout that Jim Ryan did. If you don't know who Jim Ryan is, he's a former 1960s high school runner. He's the first high schooler to break the 4-minute mile. He held several world records. An incredible runner. The thing with Jim Ryan is his coach was his swim team coach. So his running workouts were swimming workouts. Which if you know the difference between the two, they don't work on the track. You can do 50 times 100 meter freestyle on a certain time in the pool, and you're not going to be hurt. But if you do 50 times 400 meter on the track, your average mortal will not be moving the next week. Well, Jim Ryan did this kind of stuff, and he succeeded through it somehow. It was just the way he was built. So I brought this workout, and I lined him up. And this was kind of the attitude of all of them. I said, all right, you can either do 50 400s on X time with this rest, or you can do 18 800s on this time. Completely bogus workouts for what we know about running today. And it's like, there's no way they're doing. No one complained. It's like, they would do this. So I get them all lined up on the track. We're ready to go, and I go, hey guys, what day is it? Friday, April 1st. That's April Fool's Day, guys. Oh, okay. So then that was the kind of questions Kyle went. He's like, why aren't we going to do this workout? I'm like, well, let's just do the workout and then I'll explain. But so that was what Kyle was like all year. He ran hard, ran well, and had some really good times. And sophomore, so like Dylan, Dawson, freshman, the sky's the limit for the next 2 to 3 years, guys. Let's go get it. Come on up, Kyle. So the most improved award, it's tough to give to these guys sometimes because the way Lakeview is, being able to snow from anywhere from August to August, makes it pretty tough to work out hard in the winter. You can get volume, but it's really tough to get out there and run hard. You're really kind of intense stuff. So we tend to come in with not such great times and then improve quickly. Every one of our guys improved by leaps and bounds. But this guy in particular, Rowdy Gerber at Districts, had an incredible improvement. And the caveat is, he essentially had a broken foot, if not officially a broken foot. And he still dropped 40-some seconds off his PR for the 3,000. And then ran the 1,500 20 minutes later because they ran the meet so poorly. So that was fun to watch. These guys get out there, run the 3K, and then 20 minutes later come back and run the 1,500 and run it hard. But dropping that much time with an injury is something to see. So the next few years are going to be a lot of fun for Rowdy. We've got improvement to do, some non-injury runs to do, and it'll be a lot of fun. So give Rowdy a round of applause for that. So another scholar athlete. Sometimes you gotta tell Tennyson to just run a little faster. And other times you don't have to say a word. I haven't quite figured that out. And unfortunately she's a senior, but she came in and some days it's like, wow, all right, good work. And other days it's like, do I need to start going out and looking for her? Oh, there she is. So Tennyson ran some pretty incredible times, was a stalwart on the 4x4, ran a really good 800 at districts, and helped us a lot in the 4x4 at districts. And so she was a very pleasant person to work with, and I wish we had gotten together a little bit earlier so we could really work over the long haul and get those times down to some seriously competitive times. But scholar athlete, very fun to work with, and we'll wish you all the best in the coming years. So Tennyson. to say about 15 words all season. And that was only when prompted. Melanie, I hope to get to know you better. You, kind of like Dawson, are an extremely smooth runner. And that means the sky's the limit. Smooth runners, they have the ability to just go. And go at a pretty high clip. And I think, Melanie, once you figure that out, no one's going to be able to catch you. So hopefully we can try and figure this out. Absolutely a pleasant to work with. It was never like, gosh, I wish that Melanie would just grow some character or something like that. It was like, you ask her to do something, she would do it. You wouldn't hear a word, but she would do it. So you were a lot of fun to work with, and I hope to work with you some more in the future. So Melanie Thiel. So the real test of an athlete isn't the times necessarily. It's can you bounce back from a setback, whether that's physical, mental, health reasons, doesn't matter. Everyone hits those, and the true athletes, they will find a way to rise above it, find a way to bounce back. And so Lily, who's also a scholar athlete, found that way. She had a little bit of struggles there in the middle, a little bit of back and forth during races, and it was feel for her. Every one of us has gone through it. I went through it. And every distance runner I know has gone through those lulls. And hey, I'm working hard, but the times aren't coming. I don't feel good. We figured things out by the end of the year. We got Lily to some pretty good times. And another one of our young runners, so we've got some time to go. We've got one more year with her. And hopefully we can knock on the door of some really excellent times and get past these lulls in our training. A lot of fun to work with, very dependable person. Ask her to do something, she'll go do it. And it's really nice to have those athletes that you can have them do something and they don't really have to worry about. And so Lily's one of those people. And I'm looking forward to cross country, Lily. So Macy was new to me. Macy's a scholar athlete. In my first recognition moment of Macy, we're over in the DMS. It's a nasty day, so we're running inside. So I've come up with a circuit. And I'm like, that's a pretty tough circuit. And pretty soon she comes up to me, can I do this again? Sure, go for it. So I didn't expect anyone to finish this in the time we had, let alone do it twice. And that just epitomizes Macy and what she did. Every workout, she gave it her all. Every time you asked her to do something, okay, I want you to come through in X time. Nailed it. That's the most fun type of person to coach, is the attention to detail, ask you to do something, they do it. And Macy is one of those people. And I bugged her to do cross country, but ultimately it's up to them whether they want to do it or not. So we'll see. So Macy, you were an absolute pleasure to coach, and I hope to see you again, at least in track. Last but not least, scholar athlete and the most improved girl. It's tough to recognize her name. I know her as Pinky, but it's actually Jessica Lee, which, to be honest, I didn't know until cross country season. So I just always called her Pinky. Another one of those kids that you can ask them to run next time, they come through next time. They just listen to everything you say, and they just pay attention to everything you say, and they just nail it every time. And that is what pays off. So Pinky had a significant improvement this year, and that's all because she's a dependable person. She pays attention to what you say and does it. It does it consistently. Never complains, smile on her face all the time, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, she's probably wearing pink. If not, she will be some other day this week. So Pinky, you were a pleasure to have as a coach, and I'm looking forward to cross country with you as well. Come on up.
I say too much. I don't think she was able to make tonight because I think her kids had baseball. But I'd like to let everybody know Danny Owens came out this year, and she was a hurdler, and she helped immensely coach the hurdlers this year, and all the kids in some way, shape, or form. And I am very grateful to have her. I had asked her last year if she would come out this year and coach, and she told me she didn't think she could make the commitment, but she showed up the first day, and she was there every day, and probably at least half the meets. So I just wanted to let all you know who haven't got to know her that she's great, and she did great things for your kids, and she will be here next year, she's told me. So there will be some great things happening with this group that's coming back. So let me get started. I guess Elena is a junior, and she long jumped, triple jumped, high jump. Okay. Did you long jump last year? Did you do any other jumping? Well, I know I share with Mr. Glassman every day, just about. And so Elena come, and she started out doing both sets of hurdles and high jump this year with us, and she gained significant increases in her, or decreases, I guess you could say, in her times for both the 300, and worked so hard in the 100-meter hurdles on her form and her technical skills. She was out there, there's one practice that she was over there all by herself, determined that she was going to three-step, and determined that she was going to keep her arms where they needed to be and her knees where they needed to be, and over and over and over again, going over just a couple hurdles. And I don't know if you noticed that we noticed that, but we were over working with another group, and she was over there determined that she was going to get this time that she's been seeking. And I was very, very grateful for that, and very thankful. You did 300s all the way up to the last couple meets. She decided not to focus more on the high jump there towards the very end, because that's what I believe she did at district, and that's where she stood the highest chance of competing at that level. So kind of lost her a little at the end of the season. She pulled out a nice PR at our last home meet. Just did great things. It's unfortunate. We only get to put like 2 or 3 girls in each race depending upon what school we're at, what race we're at. So she didn't get to always. I had enough hurdlers this year that we had to alternate some here and there. So she didn't always get to do the race she wanted to do, but she was willing to do the other hurdle race whenever we could have put her in the 100. She did the 300s, and so it was just very easy to work with, and a great trooper and a hard worker. Gives it her all, tries her hardest every time. And Elena, it's been really nice to work with you, and I know that I'm looking forward to watching you again next year. And she's a scholar athlete.
And she got 5th in districts.
So this next girl, Brett Graham, is a freshman, and I think that having Danny as a junior high coach, and then coming into her freshman year and getting Danny again, only helped everything. Everything came together for Brett this year. She started out the season good, and she improved every single race. There's a couple races that, just like Caleb was saying, every once in a while you have something that just doesn't go right. But for the most part, everything went right for Brett throughout the whole year. Consistency-wise, she's 3-stepping. By the end of the year, she was almost to the point of 3-stepping every hurdle. We learned a couple things to tweak, and she did it. I don't know how mine works for me or Danny to just say, we think you need to do this, and she goes, okay, and she just goes and her body does it. And I don't work that way. it doesn't just come that way to me. But Brett did an unbelievable job on the hurdles. She was part of the 4x1 team and also the 4x4 team. She runs a very nice 400. Just all around fun person to be with. Her and Abby made me smile every day. Not that other kids didn't, but they made me laugh, I guess I should say. Just great. She's a scholar athlete, and she was third at district, barely. She was right there on that verge of going to state, and she is also the most improved hurdler. Madison's a junior this year, and I got to have Madison for 3 years. Me and Madison kicked off hurdles here at the high school together. So I've had her the whole time, and besides just being a great hurdler, she is just the sweetest, easiest going person I've ever been around. And I just really enjoyed my time with Madison. And Madison, as Bobby told you earlier, got second at state in the hurdles. PR. She continued to improve, and by the end of the season, between Caleb, Ethan, all of us kind of talking, I think we figured out one little thing that she needs to tweak, and she's going to be able to work on that at the beginning of next season. And I look for her to, I think she can get a 15th by the end of next season with Danny's help. And that one little thing to get that little extra oomph in there, I think you've got it. And she's also a scholar athlete, and she's the most valuable. She's the voted the most valuable. I had Curtis too, but you got to hear about Curtis ran 300-meter hurdles for us as well, and he did an excellent job first year doing that, and he did an excellent job doing that. And I hope he's moving to another school next year, and I hope he continues on in that. Dominic did hurdles, both sets of hurdles for us this year. Just great. He worked hard. He worked really hard. I don't know if any of you have ever gone and stood next to a 110-meter high hurdle, but it's about up to here on me. And he has to run them and try to take about 3 to 4 steps in between each run and get over the next one. And that's impressive. I don't know gut-wise how many people can get themselves to do that. But both 110-meter hurdles, 300-meter hurdles, he worked hard. Whatever me or Danny had to say, he tried. And in practice, he tried. And what's amazing is in practice, he would have these beautiful, flawless, just how he wanted it to look, hurdles. And he's like, yes, there it is. And then the adrenaline kicks in, and it wouldn't be quite the same, but you'd be just as fast. So, it's too bad this is your senior year. Maybe not for you, but you would. I know that with more time with the hurdles, you would get that smooth look that you accomplish it. I've seen you do it, but you still were able to speed up those hurdles. You went to state in both the 300 and the 110-meter hurdles, and did well there. There's some unbelievable competition at state, and he held his own in his races, and it's just really good to watch, and he has been great to be around. And one of my favorite things that I can see about him is he pulled together and did the 4x4 this year, which was no easy task. I from the beginning of the season wanted him to do that. He's an excellent 400 runner, which is one of the reasons why he's such a good 300-meter hurdler. He can run around that track fast. And Dominic has always been a pleasure to be around, easygoing, and I just really enjoyed my time with you and wish you the best as you move on. He is also been voted the most memorable.
Know what they did. Elena's one of those that when she jumps like she's jumping into her bed. She just kind of jumps, puts her arms in, goes sideways into her bed. And I'm sure that works great on her bed, but unfortunately there's this bar between her and the bed. But when she'd turn and let her arms get out, suddenly she'd be 4 inches higher than what she was doing in practice. And so this year she got 4.6 again and placed at districts and that close to 4.8. So next year, right? Next year. Jenny, who was the first time I got to pick on her, coach her this year. She's one of those where she's got the perfect arch that she could basically reach back and grab her ankles while she's going over the bar. Now we just got to get her to jump. She'd get over 4.4 because of this amazing arch. And it's like, no, if you jump, we'd be 4.6 or 4.8. So first year, we'll work on it. We'll get there. Another one of the guys I got to work with for the first time this year was Colby Thompson. I'm pretty sure he wanted to do high jump because we had a new mat on there and it was really comfy. Because anytime I turned my back, he was on the mat. But he had that unique situation that many high jumpers get, which is, I can't get over that height. It's just never going to happen. And so every time I put the bar at 5 feet, like, that's just 4.10, you're okay. And he'd jump, and then he'd look, you're lying to me. But then he actually cleared it once, and it was like, yeah, but I'll never get over 5.2. You win some, you lose some. But he was, the fact that he's coming out and doing it is great because the way I keep looking at this is 2 freshman guys doing high jump. There were only like 6 guys doing high jump at districts this year, so you clear a height, hey, you're on the podium. And so when a couple of those graduate, now you're one of 4, and that means you've got 3 years to improve and move yourself up in those standings. So Colby Thompson, congratulations. It was a lot of fun working with you this year. Okay, another one of my freshmen, and I have to admit, it was kind of fun having these freshmen this year because they were my first group of 7th graders that I taught when I started coaching and teaching here, and so it was fun to get them back and be able to see them as something other than 7th graders, which sometimes freshmen aren't that different, but sometimes they are. McKaylee is one of those that I had to come over and do some long jump this year, and she's been gung-ho to do long jump ever since 7th grade. Oh, it's gotta be, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna clear this. And between some injuries and just some other issues this year, she never got quite enough practice, and yet she comes out and jumps 14.6 on her last jump at our last home meet, and I was like, where'd that come from? Right? You know, a 14-foot jumper is a lot of fun as a freshman because it just leaves so much room for growth in the next 3 years. And so, McKaylee, I look forward to the improvement. You can jump. Another one of my freshman jumpers, and this is one that I really got to like sucker into all of the different jumping events. He did some long jump here and there. He did high jump, and he fell for the triple jump, which I really enjoy getting people to do, especially as freshmen, because if you can figure it out as a freshman, you can actually refine it over the next 3 years. Because triple jump is one of those that just doesn't quite come naturally. But Bud Patsky, he's one of those that it's the raw skill is there. When he jumps over the high jump, he's usually 4 or 5 inches above the bar, and then he just sits on it. And when he's doing the triple jump, he's jumping 35 plus feet, but it's really a jump and a step and another jump. And it's kind of like, man, if we get that arch and we get that second jump, there's going to be this sudden explosion in distance and height in the next couple of years. And so this year, Jerry did exactly what he needed to, and he PR'd at districts in both events. and managed to place 4th at districts in high jump, I believe. Got over 5'4", and then also managed to get to 35.2, I believe, in the triple jump, which, if you think about the fact that it's a jump, step, jump, is basically back-to-back 16-foot jumps with a little step in between. And so if we get that second jump in the next few years, 40, 41, 42 is not out of your reach. And so I really look forward to seeing those distances. Jerry is also our most improved jumper this year, so congratulations. This next individual is one of those that has bounced around from event to event, and when I asked her about it over the off season, she told me she was going to run the 1500, and I just kind of thought she was crazy because you don't normally switch from sprints to distance in the middle here. And so then I suckered her into doing the high jump. And the thing about the high jump that really makes it difficult is it's one of 2 events in track and field where the end result is failure. You're supposed to fail at the end of it. You jump until you fail. And sometimes for people that can be a really hard mental block to get over because that failure can happen at different times every time you're jumping. And she was one of those where she's so intense and wanting to do things perfectly that when it doesn't work out perfectly, there's just this ball of anger. And I have to make sure that I'm a safe distance. But she'd go back, she'd take that calming breath, and then she'd come back and clear it by a mile. And you're like, okay, see, why are you so angry? Maybe it's the anger that helps. But I really enjoyed the fact that I got to coach her this year and not just kind of pick on her from a distance. So, Sierra, congratulations on a 4.6 jumper. Okay, another jumper. This is one who sophomore this year and a scholar athlete and did a lot of sprinting last year and did some long jumping, and then at the end of the year was like, yeah, I'm going to triple next year. So got another one. And so she came out and did it, and sometimes it was 12, sometimes it was 13, and then once it was 14.8, and do that more. That was really great. Triple jump, just her first year. She's getting it figured out. She's gotten up into the 25s, which is a very nice start place. That's something you can build off of very easily. And someone who I just genuinely enjoy having around to pick on. It's nice when I have the sophomores and the juniors in my hallway because then, as many others know, I can harass them every time they walk to and from class as I sit in the hallway and whip them with my keys. So, Helen, it was a lot of fun. Thank you. Okay, another freshman, and one that I was very excited to have back this year after having her in one of my 7th grade classes as well. The very first day, and you have to guys, not just my first day in Lakeview, but my first day teaching in Lakeview, and my first day teaching, period. All the nerves that you are trying to figure out exactly, is this going to work or is this going to be a miserable failure? And you ask them what name do they want to go by on the roll so I can make sure I'm not calling them by names they don't want. And Abigail, what do you want to go by? Oh, I want to go by Abby, and my initials spell blah, blah, blah. Saying, oh boy, it's going to be So, but ever since then, Abby and I have had a very fun relationship. And so it was a lot of fun having her as a jumper this year, having her do triple jump, having her do long jump, watching her do hurdles and other events. She got up very high both in the long and triple jump, and once again, starting as a freshman means you've got 3 more years to improve, and I don't think 30's going to be long before you get there. and I very much look forward to that. So Abby, scholar athlete, most inspirational. Thank you very much. Last one is a senior who, I don't know what drove her to decide she wanted to do the triple jump, but I'm not going to complain because she's one of those people who just expects perfection in everything that she does. And came out, and first time I just kind of explained, this is what you do, and she tried to do it, and it did not look pretty. But then with a little bit of practice and trying to slow it down and take it a little step at a time, the rhythm started to build. And the first meet she got 24-25, and then the next meet 25-26, until we got to a meet. And sometimes as a jumper, you have one of those days where everything's going perfectly except where your foot lands on the board. And your jumps are wonderful and they're far, and you finish and they yell scratch. And it's the biggest letdown in the world to know that you did everything right except after running 75 feet, missing by that much on an 8-inch wide board. And after scratching 2 jumps, and then we just kind of threw everything out the window and moved her back so she could get something, so she could make it to finals to do 3 more. She was in the middle of a little bit of a mental breakdown. Just not sure what to do, really stressed, really nervous, and I was struggling to figure out how I could distract her long enough to get her mind straight again. And somehow remembered that I'd given her this book a few days before, and started talking about the book, and she got so distracted telling me about what she'd been enjoying in the book that it was time for her to jump again, and she'd forgotten about what she was doing. And she jumped 29.2 and improved by over a foot. So apparently I should hand out books more often. But Anna, it's been an absolute pleasure getting to know you this year and working with you. She is my most improved jumper this year and a scholar athlete. And, you know, hurdle and distance runner, but those are important. So thank you very much.
Thank you again to all the parents for letting us have the opportunity, all of us, to coach your kids, because every one of them is fantastic, except for a few, which I'll be up. But they really are, they're great, and we couldn't do this without you guys and with our excellent coaches and so much time you guys put in and put up with us, and I really appreciate it, so thank you guys. I have the 3 amigos, my shotput divas, who are fantastic most of the time. Part of the time. Yeah. I always think they're conspiring to do something really horrible to me. And sure enough, they usually are. And where's my backpack? Where's my tape measure? Where's my stopwatch? You know, these things that, as a coach, especially meets and stuff, like, you need it right there. It's your, bite your nails. I need certain things, and that's what I need. And they do that, and they mess with me. And they're great. I love them for it, but they know how to get under my nerves. The first one I have, freshman, and she's fantastic. Shows up with a smile, ready to go, no matter what I say, except for the very, first week. All 3 of them were complaining on the circuits that I had them do, saying, "This is impossible. We're gonna die. We're throwers. We're not runners." And between all the stair workouts and everything like that, they got better. Believe it or not, weird. But Cuff did a wonderful job. She worked every day, all the time. I'd have to tell her 7 or 8 times what to do because she'd forget it, but then she would do it, not complain, and go after it and get going. She is a scholar athlete, and she's voted most improved thrower. trio. Caitlin was also a scholar athlete. Which is hats off to all these kids that do that, because that is a lot of work. And asking them to do their work and then come out and work as hard as they can and not think about that schoolwork and just think about track, because that's the most important right at this time. Is tough, and the kids that have done a great job. Caitlin came in and wanted to throw, and she was there, and I could see the potential that she had. She just wasn't getting there. She was real quiet. What's going on here? That lasted about a week, and then all three of them got together, and they thought this is going to be fun, and they do, and they have fun. They work together better than any other kids that I've had in one specific area. Always having fun, always laughing. She improved a ton through the entire year. Every single time she got a little better. But after that first 2 weeks, you could see her having fun. She's not as quiet as she was. She's asking questions, and she started using some muscle that she's never used before. She was sore. She was getting after it and harder, and I'm just very happy with what she did and how she finished the year out. So, drink.
Did you graduate from Lakeview High School?
No. Yes. Oh, I gave you the wrong one. Well, gave up. Really scratched. I have down red one.
They did it to you. They
I know.
planned it.
My last thrower, the leader of the pack here, I won't cause too much trouble because my daughter's sleeping on her lap. But she had a very tall PR goal at the beginning of the year. It was a PR at every meeting. And she almost did it. And we talked about it, everyone has their days. Everyone has good days. Everyone has bad days. Very technical. You mess up one out of the 12 things, and it's not going to go just the way you planned it to go. But we fixed some stuff with Danny this year, and she didn't have her head bob anymore. She threw down, and so that added some distance to it. In her very first meet, she PR'd from last season, which is pretty impressive because you're not expecting it to happen. And all the way up until the state meet, she improved there by 3/4 of an inch. And ended up, doing very well. I'm excited to have all three of these girls back next year because they're going to continue to work well together. Danny is great. I'm glad she's the leader of the pack here of my shot divas because they all have, they know what hard work does. She's been here through Miranda and Delaney and seen the hard work that we put into all these kids, and so she knows it works. And that's one of the hardest things is getting these, especially throwers, to buy into the fact that just because you throw doesn't mean you can't run. Okay, so we ran, and one of my most favorite things this year about these guys is their the shot put relay, the thrower relay, and they use the shot put, which I was quite concerned about, and we almost ended up having it dropped on 6 foot, but that's all right. It didn't happen. But just seeing these girls get out there and go after it and pass the baton shot around the track was a lot of fun, and they had a good time. And every meet after that is, are we going to have a throwers relay? Are we going to use the shot again? I don't know, there might be another throwers relay, but no, we are never going to use the shot. But Danny Dunn, congratulations, 3rd place at state. At the beginning of the year, I had 2 vaulters go with me to a clinic. One of them has a broken arm. Okay. Not hard. Okay. But we had a great time going up to Eugene and going there, and Logan had no idea what he was getting into. He was really into it, liked it, and then Caleb sunk his claws into him, and and then became this great distance runner. Well, Logan was having some struggles being the shortest he is vaulting as well. It's pretty tough. And so he changed his mind, which is something that everyone can do. And he progressed over there and ended up excelling very well, at the distance thing. The other one was Connor. And this is Connor's second year doing track, but sort of. I really only had him for, a year and a little bit of time because of some injuries. So when Connor first vaulted, he was watching Pierce. And I remember saying, man, he's so high, I'll never get that high. Well, he has. He's gotten it. Connor had some lucky bars this year. He had some lucky bars his first year, and he set a good height on, last year. And then he came into it, and we started getting him going on some different poles and some stuff like that. And watching Connor grow over the course of a season, just the season alone, has been fantastic. Making the right choices and stuff like that in both school and on track, it was fantastic. At state, well, we struggled with his weight most all the time. He was right at 150, and so I don't know why we always had to struggle with that. But at state, he was a little over, so we had to go run, and we had to lose some weight, and he got it. Well, while he's going out and started running, one of the other coaches says, "Hey, we have 5 pounds of your pulley can use." I said, "We might still use that, but we need to make sure he kind of learns his lesson, even though this is the last meet of his high school career. He should have been here to begin with, kind of thing." But it's still staying with me. And I went out there, and we got him down to weight, and he's good to go. He's jumping on his own pole, and I'm sitting next to several other fantastic coaches that actually helped Connor actually pull the clinic. And watch him jump, and think, God, he needs just a heavier pull, but I don't want to do it. It's the state meet. And for people who don't know anything about pole vaulting, to go up a heavier pole is just, it's hard to do when you're really used to it bending a certain way. And I got to do this, and Dan West turns to me and he says, "You got a bigger pole, heavier pole?" And I'm like, "Well, that answers my question." Okay. So I call over to the edge of the track, which is another thing that we struggle with at state is I'm usually right there for instant feedback, and he's having to look across the stands. Where is he at? Okay. All right. And back and forth with just kind of verbal stuff, and told him it's time to pull up, and let's get on, use that other pole. And he kind of stops for a second and goes, "Okay." And there's that little hesitation, but he's got the trust in me that we work, and that's what I thought was right. It was right, even though at that time I didn't know if it was the right thing to do or not, because it's the state meet, and he could have just gone right through it. It was his first jump. He jumps and he didn't finish it up, and I was like, "Man, maybe this is a bad mistake." And he starts walking over towards me, and I was telling him what to do, and he just holds his hand up and just gives me that I got this. So I was like, "Okay." And so he goes and jumps, and it was fantastic. And he jumped the next height there, and he progressed there, and he set a PR, and then he was going for the next height. His second jump was so fast, or so slow, but his form was perfect. And he didn't have the speed there, so then he sped up. Well, he ended up not getting it, but when we get it, I wish I would have had him just a little for a full 2 years, because we could have had some big heights with him. I had a blast with Connor this year, taking him everywhere. The rest of my jumpers, even the kids that kind of came out at the beginning of the year and thought, "I want to try this. This is really hard. You have to go upside down? Wait." So I encourage everyone who wants to vault to please come out, because we're looking in numbers there for next year. But Connor Hamilton, placing the state.
I'm not some of the other people that have been celebrated, but you'll find that in Lakeview, everybody thinks they want to go through with it and get the javelin in their hands so they can go out and spear something. And I'm going to talk about a man who's sitting right there, like in the javelin. Yeah, you remember when we were at Henley?
Yes, I do, ma'am.
We're in Henley, and they have squirrels everywhere. he gets her. He's holding up his javelin in his school. He was the highlight of all the javelin throwers there. Regardless of how hard he threw, he was the big hero because he got the school. I had a lot of really wonderful kids, like all the wonderful kids that we worked in. First little gal I'm going to talk about is just a pistol, and she's very small. And why she wants to throw the javelin and the discus is like, holy smoke. Most of the people that want to do this has a little size to them. At least they're tall, at least. She might be small, but there's all the guts in the world in this little gal. And she improved, and probably was the only one that would get up and go, oh, and get it done. And she just did a marvelous job, kept improving in everything she did, and I'm so proud of what she accomplished. And she might be little, but wait, she's only a freshman. She might not grow a whole lot more, but she's going to throw a whole lot more. Congratulations. Now, another little gal in the same camp, and I really worried that I'd never see her smile, because she was so intense that if everything didn't go perfect for her, it was just it was tragic. And finally she started improving and getting better in what she was doing, and I finally got to see some smile. This little gal, I'm sure every time she went up, I don't really think I should be here. I'm not sure I should be here. And then she'd go out and give it everything she had. And that's exactly what she did. She improved a great deal. She accomplished a great deal. And she's going to improve more and more and more. Another freshman, Lexi Johnson. And she's fine. She has a beautiful smile. I got this little gal late, and she kind of went from place to place trying to decide, which a lot of them did, where she wanted to be. And she did a lot of other events and did them, as a freshman was learning. I think if she had settled in, at least a couple of those spots a little bit longer, a lot of that improvement would have come a little quicker for her. But she really improved. In the javelin, we start with just a power position throw, and then we go from there to a 3-step. And then a 5-step, and she was working on the 5-step at the end of the season, which is a real accomplishment for a freshman girl. And she worked very, very hard, accomplished a great deal, and I'm very, very proud of Libby. I never can be lively. I'm always proud of my
Let me sit down and share an embarrassing thing about her. Because she also did long jump and tried high jump with me. The most unique thing about Libby is as soon as you have her start running to do an event, she loses control of her jaw, and it drops over and her tongue falls out. And so I knew she was really doing it right every time that tongue fell out of her mouth.
I was always looking at feet and arms. I can look at her face. Jalen Johnson's another very intense young lady. And she worked with the discus and the javelin as well. And really is coming along very, very nicely. It's nice to have all these freshmen because they've got a lot of room for growth and they're going to get that much better. Only problem is when I coach a javelin, we empty the shelf. We don't have any javelins left because there's so many of them out there. So one thing that really hurts is not all those javelins are rated for a person's ability. And so they need to be throwing a javelin that really is rated for their ability. And finally, when I got this girl throwing the green javelin, the improvement really came, but they all should have been throwing the green one. So we'll have to figure out a sharing policy next year because we really want all these young ladies back. She really did a great job, love her smile. she calls me on the phone every once in a while, and she thinks I know her voice on the phone, and I don't recognize it. So I think she gets kind of irritated at it. What a special young lady. Gail Johnson. I had this young man in Falls, Joe. And I have to tell you, if I send him down to do anything, it was done first and complete before he tried to, because we have a routine we go through. And then he's the one person who's definitely every single solitary time is doing something to improve himself on the other throws. And he's just such a pleasure to coach. And we're really working on getting him into some specific positions that he has to get into, because all throwers have to use their legs. And Chris and I kind of struggle with that a whole lot. But this young man, that's what he focuses on, and that's what he really works on, and that's why he's improving so much all the time. What a great young man to coach. Jose. Now his buddy was sitting back there, leaning back, and I didn't think he was here, but Brian is the last person to come to track practice, I want you to know. So that might be what we're waiting for, you know, he did get here though. So a lot of times Brian comes and then I have to make him go out and do all the drills and warm up because he's missed all of those things. But Brian works hard. Brian has accomplished a great deal. It's a pleasure to coach. We have a little bit of a language barrier, and sometimes he looks at me and says, "Why don't you just understand what I'm trying to say?" And I don't. So, I don't. He did a great job. He was one of the young men that went early to districts and really accomplished a great deal while he was there. I think he learned a lot. I think he learned not only a lot about the discus and the javelin, but I think Brian learned a lot about himself. He's a young man that's not going to let things stand in his way just because the language barriers that he's got. Because he makes it work. And I'm very proud of him, Brian. Congratulations. This young man and his dad came to me and said, "I want him to throw the javelin." And I was very pleased to have him say that, because he looked like a guy that really wanted his son to compete and work hard and accomplish a lot. He asks a lot of questions. He works very, very hard. He's a very perfectionist, because when I try to move him on to the next step, no, I think I better stay here until I get better. You know, I have a little trouble shoving him along because he's a little hesitant to do that. I have two people like that. But this young man's a freshman. He's going to really, really throw. He's going to be a great javelin thrower. I understand his dad was, and I hope to beat whatever your dad threw someday. That's our goal, right? Okay, let's go. This next young man doesn't go to school here. He's a homeschooled student. I got a phone call from a community member that said, "You need to get this kid coming out for track." And Cameron came. And, you know, Cameron had never done anything athletic before. It was all totally new to him. But for some reason, he chose the javelin. I'm not too sure why. And the discus. And he also worked in the long jump, Boston. And he keeps looking out for all these other things. And I think he thinks, well, I probably can do that. And we encourage kids to branch out and try new things. But I don't want him to leave me, because he's really getting a lot better. He's learning a lot. He's accomplished a lot. And Cameron, we're very, very proud of what he accomplished this year. And hopefully we'll see you next year. Cameron didn't get to go to district because that's when he had to take his test for his own feelings. thing happened to this young man this year. But I learned an awful lot about Roman. Roman Springs went to a couple meets and was learning events. He was going to be a good high hurdler. And then he had a very, very serious sprain. In fact, had he broken it, he could have been cast. He might have been dead for it. But it didn't happen. This young man never missed a practice. Not once. He came every day. He worked on making himself better. He helped. He filmed. He was with us at meets. He didn't miss anything. He was a true team member, 100% all the way through. Roman's a very talented young man, a very talented athlete. And I truly believe that once we get over this injury, which he's worked so hard to get over, we're going to see some very, very, very outstanding things from this young man. Congratulations on what you accomplished. Unfortunately, it wasn't what you realized. Quinn has done an outstanding job this season. She's just now beginning to realize what it takes to be the great javelin thrower she's going to be. I'm not saying she's not good now, because she is. She stays, she plays, she works very, very hard. And not all the time do things go well for Quinn. And she would, the worst thing with Quinn is if her first throw wasn't good, it was like, oh, how can I keep it? Believing in herself and knowing that throw's behind us. But she could do that. She proved that state in her last throw. And she get better and better and better and better. Quinn is a junior. I'm so fortunate to have her for another year. And we're going to see some big things from Quinn. She's already produced big things. We're going to see a lot more. And Quinn, thank you for all you do. Appreciate it. This young man was out for practice freshman year and then wasn't with us for the next 2 years. And he came out this year. He picked up the javelin for the first time in his life. He had never thrown. He had thrown the discus before. He did the discus, he did the shot, he did the javelin, he did the 4x1, he did the 4x4. He was a utility man. He would do anything someone asked him to do. The only problem is you can only do 4 things. That's all you get to do. And so sometimes we had to kind of figure out how to make that all work. I've seen this young man grow both the class that I teach and track this year, and he's done a tremendous job. All these awards that we've given out today have been voted on by the students except for the improvement awards, and they were honored by the coaches. Okay? And because the coaches could see this is the person who improved the most during the season. That's not to say that everybody didn't improve a great deal. There were 3 young men, Kyle, Ron, and Simon, all had exact same number of votes, and we don't break ties. Coaches don't do that. So Simon is another MVP, and he's also voted by his teammates as the most inspirational. Simon. Okay, now we have some more things to do. The first thing, we've got to get the list. Each year, here. Okay. Each year we pick top gun winners. Almost always they go to people who our first year. Top gun is selected by the coaches. Top guns are the people who don't miss practice ever, or if they did, it was something that really had to happen. They work hard every day in practice. They're dependable. They're the people who, when we're loading the bus and unloading the bus, go and get it done. Even though they're young people, they pitch right in just along with the other people, and they do a marvelous job. So with the exception of one individual, these people are people who have not been in the track program before. So the coaches selected the following people to be top guns. So let's have some coaches come up here and help me award these things. I don't do this all by myself. These are all. Call your name, please come up. Top gun award. Ms. Cup. Rachel Peterson. Abby Stevens. Melanie Thiel. Ms. Trinkle. Simon Blake. Roman Gabriel. Austin Mole. And Jose Villalobos. Congratulations to Top Gun.
And above and beyond with this kid right here, one of the things he did one time is we couldn't have a 4x4 race. This kid's not a 400 runner. There's a throw. And so well, we got to have the race. You know, we got these other kids, you know, and they're scooters who couldn't get it. I said, you want to run? He goes, yeah. I was like, oh, I didn't expect that answer. And he went out there, he ran good. That, you know, it was way better than I was expecting him to. And he tried here, he just did everything to it. And he just knocked it out of the park. And everything we ever asked for out of that kid, including running the 4x4, he's done. So, great job.
Now each year we give a very, very special award to those people who have been in track and field all 4 years. This year we have 2 seniors that have been with us all 4 years. And they've done a marvelous job. They've been the back row in our program, and we're very, very proud to present Nancy Paskey and Larry Roman. You have to pass it to them, make sure they know how to do it. No, that's not it. He's the guy who has the throw. Unfortunately, we have 2 coaches that we will not have in the future. These 2 people have spent hours. They've driven their own vehicles to meets. They've coached. They've worked hard. They've encouraged people. They've done a marvelous job. They're going to leave a hole. It'll be a big hole. We'll try our best to fill the shoes of these 2 people. We have a baton that says LHS 2016 LHS Track and Field with grateful thanks for your years of service to LHS Track and Field. Jay Boston. Patricia Stanton. She gave an awful lot of credit to Danny for the coaching. Those kids were coached by Tricia as was in the weight room, and all of a sudden this little person peeked over and said, "Are you Bobby Steninger?" You remember that?
I remember 25 years ago when you picked me up off of the track run when I ran for another school.
Dropped on that one.
Tricia's been stalwart. She's provided very fine efforts to our program. She's worked with us a long, long time. And if you think you're going to get out helping,
I'll be back. I'll come to, I still plan to come to the meetings. I still plan to help at all your meetings. So I can't not watch Madison senior year.
too hard.
I'll be back.
And that brings me to my next subject. Next year, Lakeview High School will host a 2-day district night. When Lakeview High School hosts district meets, and we have done so in the past, we do something different than the other schools do. We furnish all of the people who run the events. We do not ask people to bring people from other schools. We will have an adult in every field event, in the field, and running the event. We can have young people helping, but that is absolutely essential. And we need people to help us. And I'm going to ask you people to volunteer, please, to be the staff that puts on the best district meeting for this Southern, what is the name of this? Southern Cascade Leagues for all. Because I know you can do it. I know we can get it done. If Kurt has a video for us, I can't tell you how much, how important it is that I thank you parents for letting us have the pleasure of coaching you. So let's, Caleb had something else.
Last thing for me, I help Bob with cross country. And so you cross country guys, I have your summer conditioning stuff. And some people I talk to who might be on the fence, you know who you are. Or if you're just flat out interested in running, it's a lot of fun. I have some summer stuff, not crazy or intense or anything. So come see me afterwards.
Yeah, two other things. One is the Oregon School Activities Association is challenging athletes to provide peanut butter for summer. And this peanut butter goes to the people who provide sandwiches for those who are unable to feed their families well. And they'll provide the sandwiches. OSAA has asked us to do that. A lot of you have already turned in your uniforms. If you have not, especially you seniors, I'm going to have to write on your checkout sheet telling them, I don't want to do that. Okay? Same thing is true with everybody else. So please give me your uniform if you have not already done so. And when you come, what I want.
Okay. Huge team this year.